Hi, Victoria. This is our second session since you started to seek services. So we're pretty much just going to be, backtracking on what we started from before and just checking to see your progress and see, how we've been doing since then. So how have you been since our last session?
I've been doing all right.
Mm-hmm.
Just been really keeping in mind all the stuff we talked about during our first session.
Right, that's really great to hear. And I know that in our last session we had talked about some goals. We had actually 3 goals that we had created just so that you can try to figure out something to work on and something that is really focused on your outcomes and goals and having to improve your socialization aspects that you've been worried about. So you've thought about those goals since we've, talked about them last time, and have you done anything, since then to kind of just like get yourself more comfortable with socializing with other people?
Well, because I know one of my goals from last time was looking into community socialization opportunities. So
Right.
I was just doing a little bit of research on that. That's kind of it.
Okay. Yeah, sure. And just to kind of backtrack on those 3 goals that we did have, I did want to mention that it is a type of a skill called partialization that we use in social work, in which we try to be more focused on certain goals and outcomes that we want to have, so that you're not just kind of focusing on like a broad aspect of things. We kind of just try to focus on some smaller things at once, just so that we can work on a more broader spectrum of things, just so that we can continue with not giving you too much at one time, and then from there we can really focus on those goals, and it's kind of like a little like stepping stones for a total broad solution for your whole issue.
Okay.
Is there anything new that you'd like to share to talk about like what we've discussed since last meeting that we've had? I know that we also did a genogram in which we kind of figured out your relationships that you've had since you've grown up. We had looked at how you were with about 4 generations, so your grandparents, your parents, yourself, and your siblings, and then your siblings' kids too as well. So we did look into all of that just to kind of figure out some things about your family, and I think that was really good, just so that we can figure out what your foundations were when you were younger, and even now that your siblings had children as well. So just is there anything new that you'd like to share, or anything at all that is new since then?
Not that I can think of.
Okay.
I don't think a lot has really changed since then.
Okay, sounds good. All right, well, sounds good. So we're gonna have our session today. It's gonna be about 20 minutes, just to kind of focus on, any changes, anything else you want to work on, anything new if you have anything, and then just kind of figure out like a plan, just to implement later on, so that we can, get some more of these goals to be, really full out in action, and kind of just get the ball rolling on that. Before we get into all that, I just wanted to double check on confidentiality as well. So I know we had mentioned this last time. I don't want to breach any information unless this is something that's really detrimental to your health or the safety of somebody else. So just wanted to make sure that you are comfortable with confidentiality, and that everything we discuss here, as long as it's within those guidelines, will stay between us. That's you understand that, right?
Yes.
Sounds good. Awesome. So just to kind of backtrack and go on those goals that we talked about, can you share any information about like any social interactions you've had at work that have been affecting you this week? I know that you had some issues last time about that. You brought up situations about you being in the break room and just kind of feeling awkward.
Yeah.
Talking with your coworkers. Can you kind of like mention a little bit more about that?
Well, I guess in the last week, kind of the same issue. Seeing coworkers in the break room, and it's just kind of awkward and not really knowing what to say to them. And I think I come off mean, even though I don't mean to.
Okay.
I just feel awkward and don't know what to say.
Right. Yeah. And I think that obviously the more that you do it, the more you kind of get in those situations of, socializing with other people, you can kind of just get in your rhythm and, not have to feel so awkward and not have to feel like you're being rude or mean to anybody. I don't think that, you are a mean person. I think that's a big strength of yours is being very polite, being very respectful just from what our, meetings are, and socializing with each other, just going back and forth and having this reciprocal conversation, right? I think just from what I'm, picking up is you have that capability. You're very strong at speaking with somebody, whether you think you might not be. You do have that strength to, have that reciprocal conversation and be very polite. So just trying to keep that in mind, when you're talking with others at work. You do have some strength in that regard.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, definitely. So have you had any like recent experiences besides like at work? Like maybe I don't know. We talked about you going to a coffee shop or like going to like an event. I know we had talked about going to like Comic-Con. I know that Comic-Con hasn't happened yet here in San Diego, but have you had any situations or experiences since we had our last meeting where you've been in a situation to converse with other people and make some friends?
I recently looked into like a book club, and I went to one session, which was
nice.
It wasn't bad. I think it went well, considering it was my first time and everyone was new.
Right. Okay. And so did you make any new friends in that book club?
Someone tried talking to me and we had a short conversation.
Okay.
I guess I'm planning to attend the next one, so I guess we'll see
Awesome.
how it goes.
I love that. Yeah, I think that's a really good situation to get yourself in. It's a book club, so it's like something that's, you're going to meet other people and have discussions and talk about something. And we discussed this last time, having like a similar interest can really help out with, socializing with other people. So you have that topic to talk about, and then you can kind of just add on to, whatever you're talking about, and it makes the conversations flow a lot easier. So I think just as far as that, social interaction, did you ever feel awkward in that position, like at any points?
Yeah, I think I definitely felt awkward at the beginning, just because it was a new person and I wasn't really sure what to say, or if I was saying the right thing, or if they could like sense that I was being awkward.
Right. Okay.
But they were very nice about it.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, the more you keep doing it, I think the more you're gonna get a lot better. And we'll try to figure those out, more situations for you to get into to kind of just get used to it. With those 3 goals that we discussed last meeting, and then we'll definitely try to find some more situations that you can get used to it and start talking to people a lot more. So just as far as that, I know that you had mentioned you are feeling a lot more comfortable talking to people online rather than in person. What's different compared to like talking in person to talking to people online? And you don't have to go too in depth on this, just to kind of like throw out some like ideas. What do you think is a lot easier that you can kind of focus on?
I think for one, it's the fact that I can't be seen, so no one's really like looking at me too critically. I feel like there's definitely more time online to think about what you're saying,
right?
Versus in person where it's just very on the spot.
Yeah, definitely.
I think those are the 2 main things.
Okay. Yeah, and this is why we talked about your genogram. So the genogram is a tool that we use in social work to kind of just figure out, situations with relationships and, all the generations that you've had, or recent ones at least. I think just as far as you were telling me that you had a really good relationship with your brother, right? So talking to your brother, you don't really feel awkward in those situations. It's probably because, you're pretty used to talking to him. Maybe you can kind of just like think about those types of situations, talking to your brother and talking to people online since you don't see them, just kind of using the strengths that you get from each of those different situations. And like when you're talking to new people in the situations that you're going to be in, which is going to be within our plan for you to get into those more socialized situations. You can try to use those key points and then just build upon them when you are in those situations. And if you want, we can also kind of role play if you ever feel like you want to do that, just to kind of prepare yourself. I think it would be a good idea. if you choose to.
Yeah.
And it can be another useful skill if you want to try that. Just as far as like talking to people, what do you think makes it hard to like kind of start a conversation with others for you?
I think as I mentioned before, not, I guess being worried about saying the wrong thing. Also, I find myself sometimes, I don't have much to say, so I feel like the conversation kind of dies quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, I just feel awkward.
Sure, yeah. And just not having like types of like things to say, like I said, when you have a topic that has a common interest, like let's say you're at Comic-Con or at the book club, for example, right? You have that common topic of having read that same book, and you have other people that you're just keep adding on to the conversations. That it really helps to have that common topic. So these are just different types of skills that I'm throwing at you that we'll work on together, and just kind of put you in those situations. Which brings us down to those goals again. So let's just reiterate those 3 goals that we had. So your first goal, when we had done the first interview, was you had a first goal of making a friend. So what would kind of be like the first small step you think you'd feel comfortable taking with trying to make a friend? I think you've already kind of just been
I was
going
going
into
to
that
say,
direction.
I think I've sort of taken the first step with joining a book club. I guess it's just a matter of building a friendship with someone there, hopefully.
Sure.
Just finding perhaps similar books that we're interested in, or similar topics.
Right. Okay. Yeah, definitely. I think that's a really good first step. I think you've already been initiating and implementing that. We discussed that a little bit in our first meeting, and I'm really glad to see that you made some choices to kind of go in that direction. Like I said, we're gonna supplement that a little bit more. Try to maybe find you some more social groups to get yourself into. There's also some services I can try to offer you, just as far as getting yourself into that mode. And I think that's a really good first step. I think you're obviously really driven, and I really admire that about you. That you're very driven to work towards this goal and make a change for yourself. And I think just noticing that in general is a really good skill to have. So
thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And so we'll talk about your second goal now. So for your second goal that we discussed, it was to kind of become more confident. With this goal, what kind of specific situations do you think you'd like to kind of feel like more at ease in? What do you think would like make you feel like more comfortable, and being like in these new situations? You can be really uncomfortable sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think would help you in those situations?
I guess just maybe having some like backup topics to fall back on. Maybe just like practicing simple conversations.
Okay.
I think that would help.
Yeah, definitely. And that goes back to like our strategies that we can definitely work on. So we can definitely do those role playing that I was suggesting to you earlier ago. That is a strategy so that you can kind of just be more comfortable in those situations and be more confident, and then find things to talk about. And maybe you can talk about like working on your small talk. That's definitely a good strategy so that you can kind of build upon those conversations. And like I said, we'll find some services definitely if you really want to. We can definitely go into more depth on that and try to figure out some more situations that you can get into, and then even just some conversational skills that we can work on together, so that you don't have to run out of things to say just in case.
Yeah, I think that would help.
Yeah, I think so too. Number 3, so this is your third goal. So have you had just as far as like social groups, I know that the book club is one thing, right? With that book club, and now we were talking about like all these goals being intertwined. So let's say you do go to a social group, like you go to Comic-Con, or like you mentioned that you did like creepypastas, watching creepypastas on YouTube, and then you have like these like forums that you can attend, right? Those are online. Maybe they can have like something in person, maybe like a meetup just to discuss like creepypastas and things. They have things like that.
Yeah.
We can definitely look into that and try to figure out some situations to get you in for that.
Okay.
And yeah, I think, like I said, these 3 goals are pretty intertwined, so you can make friends from these social groups that you're going to. and then making friends, you'll be able to be more confident talking to the same people that you normally would be, not talking to all the time. So definitely those three goals are intertwined. I think we should just look into that, and then we'll figure out some situations for you. Let's say, like, if you were in a situation where you wanted to start a conversation, what would you want to, like, like say or do in those conversations that kind of like keeps them going? Do you have anything that you use right now?
Not really.
Not really.
I don't know. I find it kind of hard to keep a conversation going. So.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult for me personally.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, and like I said, we'll work on that a little bit. And this is us, trying to find some situations for you that you're comfortable with, and within your schedule. You do work Monday through Friday, right? Okay. So do you think you'd be comfortable doing this stuff after work, or do you want to try it on the weekend to give you more time?
Preferably on the weekends.
On the weekends?
Yeah.
Okay. Definitely. Sounds good. Just to kind of like look at the perspective and just to kind of like see where you're at as well. If you could like kind of imagine, being, having someone in your shoes, how do you think you would want to have like them to be treated, if they were in your shoes? Do you have any ideas on that, if you have any? Just to kind of like approach like making friends, and any like advice you think you can give somebody?
I guess I would just say to continue putting yourself out there, even if it is tough and awkward. Because I think that's kind of the only way you're going to learn and get used to it.
Right, yeah. And the reason why I'm asking you that is because I just kind of want you to look in, just to see that you're not alone. Maybe that there's other people in your position too, so don't ever feel like you're the only person that, has ever had this problem. I think especially with your diagnosis of autism, a lot of people can kind of feel alienated, and they might feel that, they're the only ones going through that situation. So I just kind of wanted to put that in, perspective, that there's a lot of people that are in your same situation, so just to kind of not feel bad. And the fact that you're trying to get help on this is just a lot, and it speaks a lot towards you. You're very driven, and I think just you seeking services for this issue in general just speaks a lot about you for how strong you can be. Okay, so I just want to throw that at you, Victoria.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I did want to ask you, so did you want help researching all these opportunities to get you into some things that we can find in the community for you?
Yeah, I think maybe some research from you. You might find things different than when I'm researching. So.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and we can definitely work on that together. How about the role playing? Do you think that would be a good idea, just to kind of get you like more at ease with talking?
Yeah, I'd like to try it and see how that goes.
Sure.
And see how that feels.
Sounds good. All right. So yeah, what do you think is a small action that you can kind of like take before like our next session, so that we can kind of work towards a goal? Do you think you have any ideas on that, like an action that you want to do?
Well, I guess attending another session of the book club, and maybe just keeping in mind all the things we talked about and all your advice, and trying to use that, and then during our next session, telling you about it and how it went.
Okay. Yeah, I think that would be a really good idea. Just to kind of, and you can update, how that went. Maybe it was a little bit better than your first time that you went. I know that your first time we were kind of just like going just to go because I had suggested it. And then now, I think you maybe just a second time, now we can work towards like specific goals of like, your actual 3 goals that we talked about. Maybe you can go in there with that mindset of like making a friend, and then having that friend that you can look forward to with talking to next time when you go.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, I mean, just, figuring out those situations, and we can also do the practice scenarios where, we're kind of like, starting like a fake conversation with each other, and then you can just kind of build off of it, and then we can give, find out some suggestions for you, okay?
Okay.
So do you think there's any like resources that you've been using so far about trying to figure your problems out?
Not that I can think of.
Like YouTube? I know you go on YouTube a lot.
I do watch a lot of YouTube videos and creepypastas. Maybe like some online forums as well.
Right. Okay. And I know that we have like a 6-month time frame for the school, right? It's been about 2.5 weeks since our last session, or probably about 3 weeks
3 weeks.
because of the holidays. If we want to really have like a time frame of specific goals, so I know we wanted to have like that first, have a friend by the next 6 months. I think it's very attainable, so we'll work on that and just get the progress next time.
Okay.
And then we can definitely track it and then celebrate, your wins once you figure out these goals. And I think it would be a really good idea for us to just kind of like go through and make sure that these are all attainable, and then the progress on them and how they've been going, and keep tracking, keeping track of the goals and seeing what the progress is.
Yeah.
From there, if we do need to make some changes on our trajectory of our strategies on trying to figure out solutions for you, then we can do that. And yeah, I think it's a good plan from now.
Okay.
I really want to thank you for having this session with me. Looking really forward to our next session so that we can just continue with the implementation of these goals, and then all the strategies that we're working on. And like I said, if we need to make some changes, we can definitely make some changes from there. Okay. All right, Victoria, I appreciate the time. I hope you have a great day, and thank you for meeting with me. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.